I love Mike Hanson Archives.
Get ready to run.
Hello folks, it's Mike Hanson here from Mike Hanson Archives on YouTube. We have our new YouTube channel, which is Hanson Archives, and our new channel, Waco Archives. We're getting ready to have the 27th anniversary of when the ATF attacked Mount Carmel, a church in Waco, Texas, or near Waco, Texas. That was 27 years ago. February 28th, 2020, 20th will be 27 years. And then on April 19th of this year, 2020 will be the 27th anniversary when the 51-day standoff came to an end, a fiery end. And Catherine Matteson was one of the oldest survivors there, and I'm getting ready to show you an interview I did 20 years ago. I'm going to just show you the raw footage. I think it's about 30 minutes long, and she's going to tell her side of the story. I got to know Catherine Matteson whenever she moved to Austin, Texas, back in about the mid-90s. She moved in with Wyla and her family. And Wyla was associated with the Branch Davidians. We started having the Branch Davidians on our TV show. As you know, I was the producer for Jeff Davis at the time, later on Alex Jones, and a bunch of other Patriot type people. And we started having the Branch Davidians on, and boy, did I learn a lot about what happened in 1993 on that attack that happened there. I got to know her very good. I got to love her as a mother or a grandma. She was such a great lady. She would have been in her hundreds by now. I think she died in 2009. And this interview here, tells the story about what she's seen on February 28th, 1993, and what she went through. And just a real quick funny story. I took her on a radio tour back in about 1996 to all these different radio stations because we were going to have a memorial service in 1996 for all the people that died and all the children. And we went to this one Christian station, and she happened to mention one of the things she did. She would just out of the blue say, "David's coming back," which, she's talking about David Koresh. Some of the things the Branch Davidians believe, I don't believe, but that don't mean I believe that they should have been killed either. But she would just out of the blue say, "Well, David's coming back." And of course, this was a mainstream Christian station, and she was on the air. They went to commercial, and they kicked us out of the station. And then we got in the car, and we turned the radio on, and the announcer said, "Well, they had to leave. They had an emergency." So here you go, a Christian station lying to the public. They actually kicked her off the radio station for saying David's coming back. But my point is, you'll hear at the end of this interview where she say that David's coming back. And I know that turns a lot of people off, but I think they actually believe that David was a prophet, and they believe he's coming back with an army to save us all, at least the people that believe, maybe. And I am a believer of God, Jesus, and all that. And I never did quite understand the message of the Branch Davidians quite. I'm still learning. So keep an open mind. And I also have an interview with Clive coming up too, later on this week. So I hope you enjoyed this interview with Catherine Matteson. She was a great friend of mine. I miss her dearly to this day. She loved for me to take her out to the Olive Garden. that was one of her favorite restaurants. So here we go. This was from about 20 years ago. Catherine Matteson, Waco survivor. And I appreciate y'all keeping watching our channel here, Waco Archives. We're going to put up everything that I've ever done with Waco on Waco Archives eventually. Somebody said it might take you 14 years, Mike. Well, if it takes me 14 years, that takes me 14 years. We've hired somebody to edit and upload all this stuff to help me with all the technology. Thanks a lot and God bless. We'll see you next time right here on Mike Hanson Archives.
Helicopters came
Why you
in.
start over again? Okay.
Do you want to see all this?
Yeah, that's fine, because this is the way it looks now.
The helicopters came in from that direction, and they were coming, and as they came in, David's room was here, like this is the building, his room's extended out on the south side, and that's what they were pointing at. They were pointing at his room, and, and they came in shooting in a V formation, and I'll tell you, they just kept it up. We're going to shoot the house over there, sir.
Okay.
We're going to shoot
One second. Okay.
It won't be. It won't.
Okay, go ahead.
The house to the left. There's two houses there. The one to the left is where the sharpshooters were. And after things had gotten to the place where I was released from jail, and they had this all encircled with a 6-foot fence, so you couldn't come down this way. I walked around. I had to use the bathroom, and I knew those houses were available, so I asked if I could go in, and they said yes. So I went in and I walked that all over that house, and I could see there. You can see 1, 2, 3 windows to the left of the door, and that's where they were sitting and shooting. That building had about 8 men that would come and go. Sometimes there'd be quite a few there. Sometimes they would be gone. And at the time, I was living here, and Wayne was in the. He was with us, and I would go to Wayne and I would ask if about. I said, what about the people that are over there? I said, man, they're always there. There's always somebody there. And he said, I'll find out who they are. And so he inquired. And when he found out, they told him that they were going to school over at GSTC. Well, their vehicles were exceptionally nice. And most of them looked pretty new. Trucks and the vehicles they had. And so when he told me that, we kind of laughed because we knew that if they had been going over to TSTC, they wouldn't have that type vehicle, because that is not a school that has people with money. They would be going to another college, another place for their instruction. But anyway, they used to take our pictures, and that's where they did a lot of shooting from. But anyway, the place is not the same. That put in for a memorial. The people are not buried there, but they were put in for a memorial for the people that died. Of course, we now have a building up near coming down from the gate, that we have quite a few things in it that show what has happened. The problem is the things that we did have before that were available are all gone. They destroyed everything that was any good at all. What you see now was a bus that we used to go, well, sometimes we all go swimming, and everybody climb into the bus. It was called an Eagle, and it was a type of bus that you'd find on the road for long distance, like your Greyhounds. And we used it quite a bit. That was still in good shape after the fire, although they had rammed the front of it. But this was destroyed after the fire. And I don't know who destroyed it, but somebody came in and fired it, and they tore it all to pieces, just like they ruined the other bus we had. See.
Oh, this camera can.
Can you see that?
Uh-huh.
See that there? That is razor wire. That is so sharp. You can hardly touch it. It will cut you. They had some that was bigger. It was about twice the width of this. That's what I was looking for, but I don't see it here. But they put the razor wire in front of the windows. You know, they said they wanted the people to come out, but they put the razor wire in front of the windows, and there was no way the people could come out of those windows, which they could have crawled out of at any time with that wire there. That would have ripped them to pieces. You have no concept of how sharp that is. I wish I could find the other, because it's about twice, 2 or 3 times this length. And it looks like well, if you sharpen a pencil, if you have one of these little sharpeners, you know, you put your pencil in and turn, and you can see the part that cuts your pencil. That's what it looked like. And it's not pretty.
I'll edit you real good.
I do want to thank all people who came here and worked so hard to put this building up. It means a great deal to us. It's certainly making the people that are against us sit up and take notice that there are people who are not afraid to stand up for what they know is the truth. We realize that it's been very hard for some people to come, and they came for 12 Sundays in a row, maybe more than that. For 16 Sundays, some of them have come and worked very hard. I know how hard this ground is to dig. In fact, you cannot dig it. You have to use a pick at it before you can ever take that dirt up. And it gets hard like cement. The problem is when it rains a lot, then it becomes mud and gives you second and third shoes on your feet, which you don't need. It's very unusual soil. I'm looking out at the dairy barn. After the shooting and everything was all over, and I had been let out of confinement, the jail, and the halfway house, I took a walk around the property, and I went into the barn, and I could see where they had set up snipers there. They also set up snipers in the ground where they dug into the ground to make it. Actually, it looked to me like it did when you saw pictures of a war, and men had dug in so that they could watch the enemy and shoot them. We had snipers all around us, and there were the 2 houses across the street. They were in one of the houses. They were set up there, so that when the 25 or 30 people came out of the back of the house, back of our home there, they were shot. And afterwards they took the vehicle they used to push him back into the fire. No, it was a tank. It was a tank. It had a... Many of the people came out the back way because they knew if they came out the front they'd be shot. And so they thought, well, if they came out the back way, they would escape the fire. But because of the snipers that were all around, they were shot. And they were shot by experts. Afterwards, they took one of the vehicles and pushed their bodies into the flames. That's why, when they found Jimmy, who was not burned very much, and he was laying beside David, who was burned, his whole body was burned, and they couldn't understand why they could get fingerprints from him, and they couldn't even see part of David's body except it was charred. That was the reason. They were pushed in, and then they talk about, like I believe it was his left side, there was parts of his whole left side that was gone. And they talk about people that they couldn't find parts of their bodies, some of them they couldn't find their heads. How gruesome. And they couldn't understand it. Well, I can understand it. That machinery was not being very gentle with those people. It was just pushing them in so they'd be burned, so there'd be no evidence. They just knocked everything to pieces. They took the children's toys, and when I'm talking about toys, I'm talking about vehicles that they could roam. There could be 2 adults sitting in them and roaming all over the property. They weren't little toys that you could smash with your foot. And they ruined their bicycles. They ruined their motorcycles. They ruined everything within sight. It was like they were so vindictive. They shot our dogs. We had some beautiful animals. And they were fenced in. They couldn't get out. They couldn't attack anybody. And the first thing they did was send one man in, and that's all he did was shoot the dogs. So, as I am given information about what has gone on for hundreds of years, and what has gone on since '93. In '93, I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know for a long time, a couple of years, what had happened. But I am finding out now. People are giving me information off the net of things that have happened, the rottenness that has happened. And it indicates the rottenness that will be. And I feel sorry. Not only for the people that they're going to use, but for the people that are using, because I know what their end will be. And I realize that when David comes back, there'll be a great change, and I am waiting for that day. Because I happen to know many things in the scriptures that I cannot tell right now. He will tell it when he comes back. And he's coming back. You can bank on that.
Hello, folks. This is Mike Hanson here on Mike Hanson Archives on YouTube and here on my Facebook. And we're here at the 25th anniversary of the memorial service here in Waco, Texas. And we got Clive Doyle here. Can you tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are on the 25th anniversary here?
It's
It's all right. Everybody knows you.
kind of hard. My daughter just died. My daughter just died there.
Now, that's what I heard. And we didn't put it out on the internet because we were asked not to. This is the first time people out here on my...
A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't know yet.
That was your first daughter died at Mount Carmel, and this was your another daughter.
This is my oldest daughter. It's my youngest that died in the fire. And Karen was coming down, had her plane booked. She was coming down for the memorial, and ended up dying in a head-on collision. A drunk driver. People up in Pennsylvania saying that it was deliberate, it wasn't an accident. Tried to run a cop off the road first. I guess the cop avoided it. Tried to run down another woman and she avoided it. Karen was third in line. So they say she died instantly, which is at least she didn't suffer too much. But seems like every year there's a few more to go.
Yeah, it's just not many left. Clive, I'm so sorry for all the stuff that's happened to y'all, and hopefully it will get better. But you, like you always say, it's going to be better.
It'll get worse before it gets better.
Well, but once we're gone here, maybe.
Well, you know, KRLD called me this morning. Well, what do you think the government's learned in 25 years? I said, nothing. Except don't have the press there filming everything.
How are you doing?
There's Desi. Okay, well, we're getting ready to start. Who do you got speaking this year?
Phil Arnold, James Tabor, I believe, Catherine Lessinger, Mary Winborn wants to say a little
Oh,
bit.
good. Oh, I can't wait to see her.
So there's a lot of people.
All right, well, we're getting started here, folks. I hope y'all can make it here for the 25th anniversary here. And what's the address here? If they can still make it?
701.
701 Jefferson, Waco, Texas. Okay, hope to see you here, folks.
Sheila.
How you doing? Hi.
25th anniversary
Yes,
of what
I know,
happened.
too.
How are you?
Yes, fine,
Right
thank
here.
you.
Tell them to come on down. They still got
Yes,
time. It's
yes,
live.
It's still time.
Yeah.
Okay. Good
And
morning.
what do you think
How are
about
you?
the 25th anniversary, real quick, before we go
Sorry
in?
that it's still 25 years. I'm sorry that it's still taking so long. We want to get home. We want God to come and change all this.
Amen.
We won't have to think about
Absolutely.
people being dead.
Yes,
You know.
and look at all this food you brought.
Yes. Well,
You
thank
got everything?
Yes,
Well, we
I
still
think
got
so.
time to get here.
Okay.
April 19th,
No, it's just plain bread.
2018.
Okay.
What time is food?
12:30, quarter one, whatever, 1 o'clock. Okay.
All right, come on, park your
Okay.
car and come on in.
All right, then.
All right,
Thank you.
thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye
All right,
now.
folks. Hello, folks. It's Mike Hanson. I'm sorry to interrupt your classic viewing of all these classic Jeff Davis and Alex Jones tapes and a bunch of other Patriots here on Mike Hanson Archives, our new channel, Hanson Archives, and our newest channel, Waco Archives, which we're putting up the interviews and all the history from the last 27 years of Mount Carmel and what happened over there. All right, I'm waiting for our worker to get here where we can put some more great stuff up on. There's all our tapes over there, and we got a lot more coming. And we're previewing the tapes now where we can put them up on this editing system here. And we got a new station over here, which we're going to be putting the stuff up on the computer, and then it will be transferred over here to the editing station. But what I want to talk to you about is how we're funding this is I'm offering, send us $25 for my book, Bohemian Grove, Cult of Conspiracy. There's Alex Jones and I in our younger days. Must be nice. Let's see, where is the book? All this stuff. This is all the stuff that's been previewed and getting ready to be transferred over to be edited over here. You got to remember, out of the 2,000 live shows, a lot of the stuff was, we were changing tapes and stuff back then, and nobody's going to sit there and watch slates, so we edited it down to just the great information. Okay, we need your help out there, folks. Send $25 and we'll send you a signed copy of Bohemian Grove Cult of Conspiracy, forwarded by Tex Mars. This is the second edition. Believe it or not, there's the first edition. That's hard to get a hold of. But Tex Mars edition is fastly becoming a collector's item because he did pass away not too long ago. So send us $25. You can call us at 830-672-3089, and the girl will take your credit card and she'll send it out, get me to sign it and send it out. Talk to Angela. She'll definitely fix you up here at 830-672-3089. And if you would like to write us, it's 901 St. Joseph's here in beautiful Come and Take It, Gonzales, Texas. First shot of the Texas Independence War happened right here. Some of y'all know I'm related to Davy Crockett. There is the family tree my son did. And we would appreciate any help you can give us to get this historical feat. It's going to be a lot of work. We figured out one time when I was the producer of Jeff Davis and Alex Jones, we did over 2,000 live shows. And there's a whole bunch of other people too, George Humphrey, Steve Lane, and a bunch of other people that's on these tapes too. And a lot of them are not living anymore. So it's very historical. And, a lot of this stuff was talked about 25 years ago when it wasn't very popular to do so. So if you can help us, I would appreciate it.